The restaurant hummed with the gentle clatter of silverware and soft conversation. Michael sat at the corner table, straightening his checkered shirt for the third time. At 52, he hadn't been on a blind date in over 20 years. His daughter Emma had insisted, practically forcing him to download the dating app after his wife passed 2 years ago. "Dad, you deserve happiness," she'd said. "Mom would want this." He checked his watch. She was late. Maybe she wouldn't show. Part of him felt relieved. Then he saw her. A woman in a striking red dress moved through the restaurant entrance. Even from across the room, he could see she was beautiful, confident, probably out of his league. She spoke briefly with the hostess, scanning the dining area. Their eyes met. She smiled and began walking toward him. That's when Michael noticed something that made his heart skip. She moved differently. Carefully, there was a slight hitch in her step. As she came closer, he saw them. Sleek metal crutches, the kind that wrapped around her forearms. Michael stood quickly, nearly knocking over his water glass. "Michael?" Her voice was warm, professional. "I'm Catherine." "Yes, hi, please, sit down," he stammered, pulling out her chair. She positioned her crutches against the wall with practiced ease and settled into her seat. Her hands trembled slightly as she arranged her napkin. The waiter appeared. An older gentleman in the back straightened up, staring openly. A woman at a nearby table whispered something to her companion, both glancing over. Catherine's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "I'll have the salmon," she said quietly, her earlier confidence seeming to fade. Michael ordered without looking at the menu, his mind racing. Her profile hadn't mentioned anything about this. Not that it mattered to him, but he could sense a discomfort growing with each passing glance from other diners. So he began searching for words. "Your profile said you work in tech." "I'm a CEO, actually," Catherine said, then immediately looked down. "Sorry, that sounds arrogant." "Not at all. That's impressive." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. A waiter passed by, doing a double take. Catherine saw it and took a long sip of water. "Look," she said suddenly, her voice barely above a whisper. She leaned forward, and Michael could see vulnerability flickering across her face. "I need to say something before we go any further." Michael leaned in too. "Please don't laugh at my crutches," Catherine whispered, her eyes glistening. "I know this isn't what you expected. Most men, when they see me walk in, they suddenly remember they have an emergency. Or they stay out of pity, which is somehow worse. I should have mentioned in my profile, but I just wanted someone to see me first. Just me. Before the questions, before the assumptions, before becoming the woman with crutches instead of just Catherine." Her voice cracked slightly on her own name. Michael felt something shift in his chest. He thought of his own fears, his own reluctance to be here, his own worries about being judged as the widower, the single dad who still wore his late wife's favorite cologne. "Catherine," he said gently, "I'm a single father of a teenager who knows more about my dating life than I do. I still set 2 coffee cups out every morning by habit. I talk to my wife's photo before making big decisions. We all carry something. Yours just happens to be visible." Her eyes widened, a tear spilling over. "I have cerebral palsy," she said, the words tumbling out. "I've had it my whole life. I built a company from nothing, managed 200 employees, speak at conferences worldwide. But sitting here, with people staring, I feel like I'm 16 again, eating lunch alone in the cafeteria." Michael reached across the table, stopping just short of her hand. "May I tell you what I see?" She nodded, wiping her eyes. "I see a woman who had the courage to walk into a room full of strangers. I see someone who built something from nothing. I see beautiful eyes and an honest heart. The crutches? They're just part of your story. We've all got chapters we didn't choose." Catherine let out a shaky laugh. You're either very kind or a very good liar. I'm a terrible liar. Ask Emma. She calls me out constantly. Tell me about her. Your daughter. The evening unfolded like a flower opening. Michael talked about Emma's college plans, his fear of the empty nest looming. Catherine shared stories of boardroom battles and the loneliness of success. They discovered they both loved old jazz, terrible puns, and Sunday morning crosswords. The man in the back, who'd been staring earlier, got up to leave. As he passed their table, he paused. "Excuse me," he said. Catherine tensed. "I just wanted to say I have a granddaughter with CP. Seeing you here, so confident and beautiful, it gives me hope for her future. Thank you." Catherine's eyes filled again, but this time she smiled. Tell her she can do anything. After he left, Michael saw the shift in Catherine's posture. The armor she'd worn and had softened. "I spent so much energy worrying about what everyone thought," she whispered. "I almost missed this." "Missed you? I almost didn't come tonight," Michael admitted. "Grief is comfortable in a strange way. It's familiar. This is terrifying." "And yet here we are," Catherine said. "Two terrified people eating overpriced salmon." Michael laughed. A real laugh that surprised him with its lightness. Hours passed like minutes. The restaurant emptied around them. When the waiter gently mentioned closing time, they both seemed shocked. Outside, the evening air was cool. Michael walked Catherine to her car, watching as she moved with quiet dignity. The crutches an extension of her grace rather than a hindrance. "I'd like to see you again," he said. "If you'd want that." Catherine turned to him, her face radiant in the streetlight. "I'd like that very much. Next time, maybe coffee? Somewhere less formal where we can actually relax." "It's a date." Michael paused. "And Catherine? Thank you for being brave enough to be vulnerable. That's the real courage." She kissed his cheek softly. "Thank you for seeing me." As Michael drove home, he realized something profound. They'd both walked into that restaurant carrying invisible weights, convinced they were unworthy of new beginnings. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is simply show up as ourselves, crutches and all, and trust that the right person will see past the surface to the heart underneath. His phone buzzed. A text from Catherine. Already counting the days until coffee. Michael smiled, feeling something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. If this story touched your heart, please share, and subscribe for more stories about second chances and the courage to love again. Leave a comment below, sharing your own story of finding unexpected connection. Your story matters. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.